they're realizing, you know what? Screw this crap.
We
It don't
lost our
pay.
live feed there for a second. I don't know what happened to us, but we lost it. So now we're back.
Oh, I can tell
either that or I totally screwed it up. I don't know. Did I screw it up?
Oh, I don't know.
Well, screw this.
Who
Let's do
knows?
the intro again. Sorry, Jago, if you didn't hear anything we said, man, I'm sorry. Damn.
What happened?
Today has been one of those days, guys. Here, let's start over. Jeez Louise, what the Mary Poppins?
Welcome to the P.O.O Show, hosted by April Bros. We're talking green and gold, headshot and go pack go.
You're muted again, you idiot.
Son of a
Number one.
bun of
Number
a, I
two.
have no idea what happened. Were we live?
All I
before?
got was herky jerk intro. So I don't know if it's me over here or if it's you over there. It was bad.
my
So that was a
God.
bad idea. I said a whole bunch of stuff and now it's gone and I can't bring it back. So I don't
Jago,
care.
we talked about the Jago. You had all these comments. We were talking about the Vikings. I apologize. I swear I went live. I know I hit it. Maybe it didn't go. I don't know what happened, everybody. Welcome into the show. Holy man, we're off to a wonderful start. What do you want? Anyway, we talked
I
about
don't know.
how
Let's
the
just get into
GMs
the
are
stuff you wanna
crazy.
talk about.
We talked about
They
some
both
other
suck.
stuff, but now we're gonna talk about but fine. Quasi, Goody, they should hang out, no doubt. All right, Lee, how you doing? Jago, good to see you. Sorry about all that mix-up. I don't know what happened. But we're on to bigger and better things. We move forward, just like the Green Bay Packers. Move forward. Okay. So, Ben, I got some things for you here. You mentioned when we were talking before the show, David Bakhtiari. We talked about him briefly. And I wanted to go talk about this when it happened, but then you didn't want to do a show, and now it's so far in the past. But I can't let him off the hook here.
You still talk about it. Who cares?
The guy, isn't it what? Okay. He is basically, I don't know if Aaron Rodgers is his consultant in this case, or he consulted the
He
same
is.
PR person that Aaron
Yes.
Rodgers consulted. But,
Yes.
So David Bakhtiari, all of a sudden he's on Rich Eisen and he's spinning what he said into like everybody. The definition of rebuild. I mean, your definition of rebuild might be different than my definition of rebuild. And I don't know why everybody's making such a big deal about the fact I said rebuild and blah, 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 blah. They're not worried about the fact you said rebuild, right? It was the other things you said.
It was the they and the them, and they're going to suck.
They're going to suck.
It was
Well,
the they're
you're
going to suck.
anyways. Yeah, and you're going to suck anyways. So just
No, not you're going to suck. They're going to suck.
They're going to suck.
There's a difference. If you say you're going to suck, then that's almost, you could feel like that's part, like you could say you and still sort of say that you're part of it. You know what I mean? But when you say they're going to suck, that is, I'm off. I'm separate from that. And that was the thing that bothered me about it. I don't care about his rebuild comments.
No, but that's what he was spinning onto and totally just letting everything,
they
like
need to trade
brushing
him.
everything else under the rug. Whoa. And Rich Eisen was like his ally in it because he's like, yeah, I mean.
It's because Rich Eisen is an Aaron Rodgers lover all of a sudden.
The rebuild.
Rich Eisen is a two-faced douchebag. No offense, Rich Eisen. It's funny. No offense, Rich. Dude, until the Aaron Rodgers Jets
move. No offense, I don't know, but then say something.
Yeah.
I love it. Go for it. Okay.
Until the Aaron Rodgers trade, or until Aaron Rodgers went on Pat McAfee and said he wanted to be a Jet, Rich Eisen wanted Derek Carr. Rich Eisen wanted no part of Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, even during the time where it was going from when Rodgers said he wanted to go to the Jets to when the trade actually happened, Rich Eisen was still like, I don't know if this is the best move. Maybe we don't do this, but I don't know what else we can do now because we lost Derek Carr and I don't know who else we can get. And then the day of the trade, all of a sudden he's all, "Oh yeah, Aaron Rodgers." Come on, he knows. Rich Eisen deep down knows this is a disaster waiting to happen, and he knows it, and he can't tell anybody. So he's just gonna he rides the wave. He's got a show. He's got to fill the hours with talk for how many years?
Come on, you know what it was. He was facing the reality of having to watch Zach Wilson play again. So
I think Zach Wilson's better than Aaron Rodgers right now.
Well, he'll certainly practice more than Aaron Rodgers. But anyway, that's beside the point.
Okay,
what else?
Well, yeah, he's going to practice a lot more because Aaron Rodgers ain't going to do jack squat. I don't want to talk about Aaron Rodgers. I'm done
He'll
with
be
him.
ready to go. What? But anyway, I'm just kind of, I was so, I was so annoyed because then people are like, oh yeah, oh just move on and blah blah. No. You said what you said. Like I said it this way: if you said what you said and then you came out okay and you wanted to kind of make it right and whatever, and you just said, look, I was frustrated. A bunch of my friends have gone off the team the last couple of years. This other guy, the quarterback I played with this whole time, gone. Like I was upset. And so I said some things I didn't mean to say, and I want to move forward and help lead this team. If you did that, you own up to what you said, you acknowledge it, you own up to it, and you talk about moving forward, I'm cool. And everyone's cool. But when you try to cover this BS up and you pick and choose what you said and focus on some other thing and then twist and turn the, your definition of it and try to make it seem like everybody's overreacting to what you said, that's a bunch of that's like the Aaron Rodgers playbook, and it makes me crazy. It pisses me off.
Here's the thing, Jace.
Pisses
The
me off.
world is a different place. The internet, like this here, this show, Twitter,
It's a great show.
all this stuff. Well, people liked our last show. We actually had some views for once. But
That's
anyways,
because of the Mikowski graphic I used in the beginning.
well, we need to use that more often. Apparently,
Can't
people
believe
like
you
that.
said that was a great poster. It really
This
was.
is a great poster. It's probably like the greatest poster in Packer history. I can't think of any poster better than that. But back to this, Bakhtiari. The thing that's different is this. There's two types of people on the internet. There's people who, because of the internet, right? This isn't like back in the day when, you had to make a crazy poster to get people's attention, like Don Mikowski. This is the day where, you might be having an interview or talking to somebody on the street. If somebody's got a phone and they record it and you don't even know what you said, and now it blows up into a big freaking hairy mess because you're a face of some sort of popularity or whatever the case is, right? So you have to, it's very sensitive and very careful. And, I don't think Bakhtiari even realized what he was saying. I mean, like, you're on Busting with the Boys. Like,
He was
people are
just
gonna see
chatting
this.
it up with,
Just chat up with this. But that's the problem with that show.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so good, though, is because you got that Will Compton guy who seems like he's got 2 brain cells. And then you got that other guy who's got like a half brain cell. And so you're sitting there talking to 2 other guys with half brain cells. You just start talking like you got a half brain cell, like Bakhtiari did at that point, which ended up being a big hairy mess. But the other so what you're trying to do now is you have to backtrack. You never want to be wrong. You can never admit you're wrong, but you also don't want to look like the bad guy, or you don't want to. So you have to somehow ride this wave of I'm not wrong, but I'm also not a bad guy. The other problem is there's also faceless people out there who will just cut your ass down and just keep cutting and whacking and talking smack about you constantly because they have no face out there. They have no thing out there. They have no anything out there to take the hit like Bakhtiari's taking the hit for one thing he said. So then there's also these people who just say whatever. Just say all kinds of crazy crap and talk smack about you, and they have no repercussion, and they give out false information, and they do all this kind of stuff, and then that can actually lead to things which make you mad, and then respond and blah, blah, blah. So because of that, because of the dichotomy of the people with the face and have a voice, and the people with no face and have a voice, you have to try to straddle that line the best you can and be like, okay, am I going to do this, or am I going to do this? Am I going to do this, or am I going to do this? And Bakhtiari is been in the league for 10 years, and he's going to say what he says, and then he's not going to backtrack. He's not going to. And not only that, nobody wants to be wrong. Nobody can admit they're wrong.
Why is that? I
don't know, but
don't
nobody
get it.
does anymore. Nobody can just.
I don't get
the
it.
only guy who says he's wrong is Matt LaFleur,
You're right.
and he says it when he's not even wrong. Like he'll be like, "Oh yeah, Aaron Rodgers threw 3 interceptions today. Oh well, I didn't do a very good at play calling. Really? That was why Aaron Rodgers threw 3 interceptions against the Lions? No, it's because Aaron Rodgers sucks ass in that game.
Ooh. Jago says Bakhtiari is a washed tool.
We'll see how you feel about that next year when he's a
we'll
Viking.
see. Oh,
Because all former Packers go to the Vikings. Jago or Jago. Just,
And you could use a tackle. You guys been looking for one for 15 years or whatever.
No, they actually have decent tackles right now. They finally have them. They don't have any good guards or centers, so
That's
get ready to
true,
get
though.
blown up through the middle from Kenny Clark. No,
Hey, Kenny Clark
awesome.
looks like a
Just kidding.
superstar.
Anyways,
Kenny Clark.
so that's all I'm going to say about it.
All
I don't
right,
blame
fair enough.
Bakhtiari for backtracking. I don't blame him for trying to
I
spin
do.
it.
It's
What's
Come
he gonna
on.
do? He's not going to say the truth.
All he has to do
he
is
said
say
it.
it.
He said it also on Rich Eisen. He's like, "What am I supposed to say? My best buddy and one of my best buddies in the world is gone.
That's
It's
all I can
disrespectful
say.
for me to say that it's not a rebuild when we just lost a superstar Hall of Fame
Nah.
quarterback, and now we're going to a guy who hasn't proven a jack squat. I mean,
Wyatt wants to talk about Wyatt. We can't talk about those guys yet, though. We haven't heard much
you
about
shoot.
them. Sorry,
Wyatt, you're right. Well, we'll see if he does. I don't know.
We'll see. Anyway, look. Wyatt will just. Yeah, okay. Now I'm catching up. Wyatt will look great against the Vikings as well. He'll destroy those guys in the middle.
Hopefully,
no doubt.
hopefully, but we
Yeah.
don't know.
You're right.
Put it together.
You're right, Jago. Bakhtiari
Yeah.
does like the horse race. That's what he loves with Rodgers.
All those guys love the horse.
He-
When they get to be invited by Aaron Rodgers to the horse race. It's like a big deal, man. Of course, Bakhtiari still wore shorts. Everybody else had like a nice suit and stuff. Bakhtiari had like shorts and
How long does that race last? How
I
long does it
don't
last?
care.
Come on,
Who
man.
cares? It's dumb.
Okay.
It's stupid.
Let's talk about some other dumb things here, because I got frustrated. I got frustrated hearing
You
this.
shouldn't be
again.
so frustrated.
I'm frustrated by misinformation. I'm frustrated by.
Well, you're screwed
Hype.
because that's the way the world works.
I'm
I just
frustrated by
explained it.
hype. Just give me a break
Faceless
here.
dingles just say crap all the time, and then people are like, "Oh
These-
yeah, Kenny Clark
This-
is a superstar," and all this kind of crap.
That award shows integrity, and I'm telling you, I have
Oh.
some as a former journalist, and it just
Okay.
drives me up a wall when I hear people who are out there in the stratosphere and they say crap, and they're supposed to be trusted resources. Now,
Oh,
let's step back a second here. We'll step back. Okay. We visited some of these things in the past, but it is time for another look and a comparative look and a refresher. The hype train for some guys versus others, I don't get it, number one. Number two, the other thing I don't understand is when you have people who are separate from, they're not part of the organization, they're not paid to like pump up the superstars, they're not paid to pump up the guys who they gave all the money to, and they're supposed to be, dedicated to this and given all the takes. And it's not just one guy, plenty of people said this stuff, but we'll get into this in a little bit. Now, recently, Andy Herman did an top five underrated Packers, right? And you made a comment on it. You made a comment on it because you wanted DeGuara to be in there because you think he's underrated. And he certainly
I agreed
is.
with almost everything he said except
know.
for one, and I just said take this guy out and put this guy in, and I agree with what you're saying.
Now, the people on the underrated list, not a problem. For
Matter
the
of
most
fact,
part. Although
for the most
Goodson,
part,
I don't-
all those guys.
eh.
That's what I'm saying. Take Goodson off, put DeGuara in, and those are like our favorite guys. Keyshawn
Yes.
Nixon, Rasul Douglas,
Yes.
Aaron Jones.
Yes.
I
All
can't who's the other
underrated.
guy. Oh, John Runyon. He's underrated too. When you watch the film, we just a couple
Now-
weeks ago when he showed that video of that one game.
Yeah.
Remember how he was taking on the big first round draft pick and shoved that 360-pound guy and moving him backwards.
Mhm,
That's
mhm.
freaking awesome. I
get
agree
it.
with everything he said except for Goodson, who my comment was, I just said, hey, I don't know how this guy can be underrated when he never sees the field. That's what I said. Maybe he's undervalued, and because of that, he never sees the field. And I said, let's put DeGuara in there. But Andy Herman hates DeGuara. He always talks shit about DeGuara. I don't understand why. Even though he
I
gave him
don't understand why either.
a plus 4.5 grade for the year last year, he still talks crap about him every time he can. I don't get it. Yet Kenny
Well,
Clark is his favorite
Kenny
guy in the world. By the way, did you see his overrated video today?
I did not watch that yet.
Ooh,
But
be careful what you say
Lucas,
now.
Didn't he have Lucas Patrick on there a couple years ago? Anyway,
I don't know.
point
I don't know.
is this.
Just be careful what you say, because if you don't know what he had on his overrated video, you might say something that I might have to smack you down a little bit. Just saying.
You can smack me down all you want. I don't care. But here's the point.
Okay.
The list was not the problem. The
Okay.
context and the reasoning and all the explanation around the list is what I have issue with. And don't get me wrong, just like us, a lot of the stuff you try to prepare, you get to, well, wait a minute, do we prepare? Anyway, beside the
No,
point.
we don't prepare jack shit.
But a lot of the stuff you're using what's in your memory bank, right? You're recalling as you're talking about it to kind of give context to what your take is and what you believe and what you think and all that sort of stuff. Trying to give people some information about why they should agree with you or at least consider your position, right?
Yeah.
So I understand Andy's doing that. I think
He also had numbers and he had his ratings backed
I
up.
think
I
he-
thought it was a
I
good
think he
video.
prepares
I don't have a
more.
problem with it. I don't know what your
But-
problem is. What's your
Here
problem?
we go. Two things.
Get
Number
to
one,
the point. What is your problem? I don't have a problem with it.
I have two problems. One is a quick one, and one is the one we're going to examine. The quick one is he talked about in 2021 how John Runyon Jr. was like said was the best offensive lineman in the Packers that whole season, and that is wrong. Lucas Patrick was the best offensive lineman in the Packers
Oh, okay. That's
in
what
that
it is.
season,
Okay.
100%. Go back and fucking watch. Pardon my French. The
Well-
dude who saved your ass at center and covered everybody's ass all the time because he had to be next to Royce Newman all the goddamn time. So anyway, never mind about that one. That's not the big one, though. The big one is this. He had Rasul Douglas on the underrated list. I agree with that, him being underrated. He's highly underrated, and we've talked about it time and time again, and I'm going to explain why he's highly underrated right now. But then in the process of talking about that, he talks about how, it was, a lot of people might think, this is a strange guy to have on here because, he really had a struggled last season and it was a down season and blah, 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 blah. Like, no, it wasn't a down season. We've talked about it. He was basically the majority of the touchdowns and yards and completions, a lot of them that he gave up were when he was trying to cover quick slot guys and he was playing out of position.
Right. Or fast
Right?
guys who he can't keep up with. And
Right.
Just be smart. Don't put him on the fast guy.
100%.
You
But
got
he ended up
Jair
against,
Alexander. Put him on the fast guy.
Right. But Jair gets to play a safe spot most of the time. Anyway,
Jair got his ass
So-
kicked by St. Brown twice against
I
the Bears,
know.
for God's sake. I mean, there's one
I
time he was
know.
so down, left him go for, like, he wasn't paying attention. And
I know. And that's what I mean about the hype train that drives me crazy. And the other part is,
Yeah.
as he went on and explained, he focused on all these things about how it was a bad season last year, a down season. Oh, but he'll come back. He played so good the year before. It had to come back down a little bit and blah, 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 blah. But he was basically downplaying last season like it was a rough season, but he's going to come back. He's still a good player. He's going to bounce back from that. It wasn't a bad season. Now let's take a look at it because we're going to look at a couple things here now. We're going to take a closer look at two Packer cornerbacks, two of them. And we're going to
Okay.
clear some stuff up. All right?
Graphics. Wow, let's do it.
I put this together. This is why we were on late today. Both of these cornerbacks are in this photo right here. Both of them. And we're
Keyshawn
going to
Nixon.
show some truth and clear up the false narrative by so many damn people, which drives me up a wall. The 2022 season, here's what we're going to look at. Because 2021, Rasul Douglas was the man. Everybody's saying Rasul Douglas is the man. 2022, down season. And there's one guy that everybody says is the man all the time. He's so great. So, cornerback one. You can see some of the key statistics here. Snaps, 901 snaps versus 914 snaps for cornerback two. Okay, that's almost exactly the same. Pass breakups, 14-13. Pretty damn close. Interceptions, 5-4. Okay. Forced fumbles, 0 and 1. Fumble recoveries, 0 and 1 for cornerback 2. Tackles for a loss, they both had 4. Now, looking at those numbers, is there a drastic difference? Would you say one of these cornerbacks is all pro, amazing, and the other guy had a bad season?
Nope.
Okay. Let's continue on. We got a few more numbers to look at.
Well, I know which one is which.
Okay. Let's take a look. How those numbers we just looked at, how does it look at on a graph? Because sometimes people, visual learners, we got to look at stuff differently.
Graph.
Yeah, we got a graph.
What? The production of this show has just gone through the roof.
So, a graph, this is what it looks like. It's almost the damn same across the board, right?
Yeah.
And just remember, 901 snaps versus 13 more snaps. That's it.
Except
13 snaps. It's
Zero
not about
forced
how many
fumbles
games
and
you
zero
started.
fumble recovery.
0 fumble recoveries, 0 fumbles forced. Exactly.
Mhm. I know who that is.
One guy who has a nose for the ball, another guy who, not really. Okay. Let's continue on. But anyway, that's what it looks like visually for a graph. All right, a few more key statistics in this measuring to measure performance, just to complete the picture here. Cornerback 1 gave up a total of 49 completions in 2022. Okay, cornerback 2 gave up 54. And we know they had almost the same amount of snaps.
And most of those 54 happened when he was playing in the slot defender role.
Right?
No offense.
Total,
I know who-
total
we know who- I know
yards,
who it
total
is.
yards given up, 572 to 583.
That's the
I
same.
mean, it's almost exactly the same. Completion percentage against, 60% completion percentage against cornerback 1, 64 against cornerback 2.
The most of that higher percentage rate came when he was playing in the slot and had to cover slot, which
an
gives
interesting
a two-way
one.
goal.
Here's one fun for you. Yards per completion given up. 11.7 yards by cornerback 1 and 10.8. Almost a full yard less per completion given up by cornerback 2. Okay. And the big one that we hear about, the greatest cornerback in the history of all Packers, or, the greatest one right now, never gets targeted, right? He doesn't have as many interceptions early in his career and this and that because he never gets 82 targets for cornerback 1, 84 targets for cornerback 2, almost exactly the same. Here's a big difference.
Yeah,
Cornerback 1
difference.
had 56 tackles and cornerback 2 had 85 tackles.
That's because cornerback 2 is a good tackler who actually gets his nose in there and actually makes some plays, which is why he's the most underrated defensive back on the team.
So,
well, he's one of the two. Actually, Keyshawn Nixon. I agree with Randy Herman, Keyshawn Nixon.
I agree with Keyshawn Nixon too. He's going to be great. So, as we saw visually, a bunch of these other things between passes defended, interceptions, tackles for a loss, almost exactly the same. Forced fumbles, fumble recoveries, one had 0 across the board. These numbers very similar until you get to yards per completion and you get to tackles. Yet, pretty similar, right? Although I'd argue one guy's more impactful, like I say here, and consistent. You have Jair Alexander, second team All-Pro and a Pro Bowler, paid 3 times as much, and people say how great he is all the time.
All the time.
And Rasul Douglas, not Rasul Douglas. Andy Herman.
I don't know why he keeps
Rasul
saying
Douglas.
Rasul, yeah.
No AP, no Pro Bowl, and people say he had a down season. And that, my friends, to finish, that's some BS.
Man, my face says it all right there. That is some BS.
That's my
like, what the
presentation for tonight.
crap?
That's why we were late tonight. I had to finish.
That
putting
was
together.
amazing. That was the best production value on this show. I don't know what's going on with you. Last week you said the best comment you've ever said in your life. Now you have top-notch production value. I don't know what you're trying to prove. What are you trying to prove? That we're actually a legitimate Packer show? Wow, nice. You are a award-winning journalist. There is
truth.
No doubt.
It's truth.
It's a very small plaque, but it is award-winning, so I'll give it to you.
Look, it's just it drives me bonkers to hear it. And so I'm like, let's look at it again.
You don't have the guy's jersey. I have his jersey.
But how do all of these people that watch football, that examine football, that study it, that report on it, that look at it, that watch every play, do they say one guy is so great and the other guy had a down season, and look, it's almost exactly the same.
Except one is way better.
Except one's more consistent, one tackles more.
And here's the other thing I would say about the whole thing, too, is Jair Alexander has got more physical skills than Rasul Douglas has. Rasul Douglas is not as twitchy, definitely not as fast. The best thing about Rasul Douglas is he takes no crap. He has incredible awareness. He's able to, and at a short notice, he'll just turn around and the ball's there. He picks it off. Boom. Or he'll make a play on the ball. He can find the ball in the air. He's very good at that. Which makes up for his lack of speed. But there are times where he can get beat on a deep route. I can remember there's a play. I can't remember what game it was, but I think it might have been against Washington or something. It was
against Stephon Diggs. He got caught on Diggs like in the slot one time.
Yeah,
and it was a terrible matchup.
No. There was one on the outside. He was on the outside covering a guy, and he got beat to the and the ball was thrown and he couldn't find it, and he got beat, and he goes the touchdown, and it looked really bad. And it was there are very few plays where Rasul Douglas looks bad. That's all I'm going to say. Very few. But he is, you're preaching to the choir here. He's my favorite. I mean, I have his jersey. I bought his jersey last summer. I had all the jerseys I could choose from, including Aaron Jones, who is probably, I should have bought Aaron Jones, but that's okay. I bought Rasul Douglas because, after practice, we watched him talk to Jamar Sean Charles or whatever the hell his name is for like 20 minutes, going over stuff with him. After everybody left the field, there's Rasul coaching up his teammate to try to make him better so that the team can win. And that's why I bought his jersey. I was like, I love this guy. Now, he's not at OTAs. He's turning Aaron Rodgers. And also, Jair Alexander not at OTAs. I don't know. I would like to see him there. But whatever. Nice. I guess, I don't know. He's starting to make me a little upset by not being there. Well, we all know Aaron Jones is always there. So, but His play on the field is very good. I will say this about Rasul: his down year. What was down to me was his aggressiveness in the running game. It was fine when it was like a wide receiver screen or something like that, or a quick pass to the wide receiver. He's playing 8 yards off. He attacked and destroyed and like made tackles and was awesome. But whenever there was a running play and he was at corner, outside corner, and he would kind of sort of pussyfoot his way in there. Not as bad as Jair, because Jair just kind of stands there and hops around like a ding dong. Where Rasul was kind of like, do I want to get in there? I think my other guys will make a play. No. Where Keyshawn Nixon was the exact opposite.
Mm-hmm.
If he saw the running back got the ball, he was like beeline and make it and go. And same with Rudy Ford. Both those guys beeline to the ball, whether it's the ball's in the air, whether it's a run, whatever. It was awesome. So, yeah, but your PowerPoint or whatever the hell this crap is called, I don't know, I'm not that smart, was genius. Way to show everybody, yeah, Rasul Douglas is not an inferior cornerback to Jair Alexander in any way, shape, or form. If anything, he's better. He's 30 tackles better.
Yeah.
And the best part, the thing I like the most about that was your targets that you showed, 82 against 84.
It's what everybody defaults on. Oh, Jair, no one throws at him.
That was one of the things this week I heard from somebody. I don't know who it was, Andy Herman or whoever. It could have been anybody. But they were saying that same thing. Mm-hmm. That Jair, well, I mean, he's so good, but part of the reason why he's so good is that, I mean, they don't throw the ball at him. Mm-hmm. I mean, so they'll go after the other guy and, all this kind of crap. And I'm like, well, they throw it at him too. They ain't worried, especially when they're playing a stupid zone. But it's the bottom line is this. You didn't watch the show, so I'm going to tell you, just go over a couple things. And I'll say this real quick too, because I don't want to have this be like Andy Herman beat down fest, because I agreed with a lot of the stuff he said in the underrated video.
The people on the list, but again, the reasoning that's what. So I listened to the context, and the context matters, and I also understand, like, if you're gonna say stuff like you are the person who's looked at all this, and so trust me because I go back through all this stuff and comb through it, guys. Whatever. Then know your crap. Like, don't just default on Jair never gets targeted. He does. He got targeted almost exactly the same amount of times as Rasul. And all the numbers are almost exactly the same. So don't tell me how great one guy is and then say the other guy had a down season. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
People can be wrong about stuff. I've said many things.
That's fine. I said plenty of wrong things too. But I'm just...
So it's a minor... Just understand. Whatever. I'm just going to tell you some things today. Today he did the most overrated players.
Was Jair on there? He should be.
He was an honorable mention.
Or
dishonorable mention. Fair. He almost put him on.
Wow.
And he did mention some of the things you said. He talked about how he wasn't as aggressive in the running game. He didn't want to get hurt or whatever. But he also said that throughout the season, he got better. He got a little more aggressive later on in the season. So after he was coming back from the injury and fighting through it. But his 5 most overrated players, I was shocked at one of them.
Kenny Clark?
Yes.
Kenny Clark?
He said Kenny Clark was... What now? Of course, he's saying, I really hate doing this video, and it was really hard for me to find all these guys who were blah blah, blah 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 blah, whatever. So he did that to start off the show, and he's like, "You guys are going to be mad at me, but these are the guys who are the most, from what I've seen. I mean, I'm not going to put like a young guy on here, though he did, which was the one I disagreed with. But his first mention was Elton Jenkins.
Yep. 100%.
Who is overrated? Yes,
dude. This is all proof that Andy Herman watches our show.
Well, I don't know about that, but I think he's finally.
I'm just saying.
He's being honest. Like I said, I wrote a comment saying this is the most honest show I've ever seen you do. I put that on there today. Because I usually don't comment on his stuff, but I do. I say, like I said again, I think Andy Herman, out of all the Packers stuff out there, I would rather listen to Andy Herman than anybody else. I think he does his work. I think he does watch the games. I think he does study stuff. I think he's honest about things. For the most part, he does have his favorites, and he does push his favorite players. But who doesn't? I do that. I push DeGuara and frickin' Rasul Douglas and Aaron Jones. Like, I'm going to push those guys. They're my favorite guys. I do it too.
He made, and again, it makes me wonder, it makes me wonder if somehow he's discovered us or not, or maybe he's just finally picked up on it. But he made a great point about Aaron Jones, because it was like, when he put Aaron Jones on his underrated list, he even said, most people would be like, well, what are you putting Aaron Jones on here for? And he went back to say, well, yeah, and somehow this guy, Mike McCarthy didn't want to put him on the field, didn't want to use him too much. There are games all of a sudden where Aaron Jones has 4 carries in the whole game.
Yeah.
Like, how does that happen?
He's undervalued on his own team, is what he said, or underrated on his own team. I don't like the word underrated. I would say undervalued. I would say undervalued by the fan. Yeah.
A guy who's an impact player, who's a star, you should never think he should be on that list, but they don't use him enough. They forget about him.
Well, and Matt LaFleur doesn't know which running back's on the field at the time. Like, he doesn't run plays for him, which he should, and he should run specific plays for AJ Dillon, and he should never have a wide receiver screen to Allen Lazard. Yet there we are with a wide receiver screen to Allen Lazard. Like, there's constantly stupid freaking things that happen, and it's the coaching is dumb, and that needs to change this year. Utilize your players to their best abilities. Have specific plays. You think George Kittle gets specific plays with the 49ers? You bet your ass he does. You think Deebo Samuel does? You think Juszczyk does? Hell yeah. The reason why Kyle Shanahan is such a great coach is not because he's a genius play caller. That's part of it, I guess. He does come up with cool plays. But he also understands, hey, guess what? This guy's really good at this. This guy's really good at this. This guy's really good at this. I'm going to make sure they do the thing they're really good at. I'm not going to take a guy who's 6'5" with runs a 4.7 and falls on his face half the time and have do a wide receiver screen with him. I'm not going to do that. Yet Matt LaFleur calls the play, and I guess Allen Lazard is lined up at that spot. I guess he's going to get the wide receiver screen, and guess who's going to block for him? Randall Cobb? Come on! It's stupid. Okay, back to the Andy Herman stuff. Not his thing, but his overrateds today.
All right.
Did you talk about Elton Jenkins? I agreed. But I do think Elton Jenkins is a good player.
Yeah.
I was happy when they signed him back. I think he is, for the most part, a very good guard.
Yep.
Now, when they try to play him, and that's the thing, it's also humorous again. Now, everywhere I look, everybody's like, Elton Jenkins, I mean, they all say, he's not a tackle. You should never play tackle. And I'm like, really? That's funny, because last summer, all I heard was, he should be playing right tackle. Like, well, he's so good, he could play right tackle. Like, oh my God, he should be playing right tackle. That's all we heard all summer. And who were the two guys who said he's not a tackle? Us. So watch us, people. We know what the hell we're talking about all the time. And we know a year before everybody else. We know before it happens. Okay? Because we watch things and we say, oh, well, that's dumb. Why would we take a guy who's a Pro Bowl, possibly Pro Bowl guard and put him at right tackle? Dumb. Keep him at guard where he's a Pro Bowler. Duh. We said that last summer. And now guess what? They're starting with left guard. He's staying at left guard. Oh. But who's the underrated guy? Runyon, who can switch from right guard to left guard to right guard. And because they're just like, here, you got to go over here. You got to go over here. But he played good at left guard. He plays good at right guard. He's pretty good. He's underrated. Okay.
I like him. Look at this from Rick. He says, someone did plug Hafen Bros when Andy asked what other Packer shows people go to. Was that you, Rick? Was that Lee? Was that somebody? Damn. Thanks, everybody.
Who plugged that?
I don't know. Someone, he said. But I will say this. Maybe he's being modest and it was actually Rick. But I will say this.
I don't know.
If Andy Herman ever had us on a show with him, it would be great. We'd have a great
I would love
time.
to have Andy Herman is awesome. I just said that.
I think he's a good dude. I just think I had a problem with sometimes. Yeah, sometimes just know the context. Sometimes that's all.
Right. So his next one on the list was Kenny Clark.
Okay.
And
they're both on my list.
Right. And he went through it and he was like, this one really hurts me. And he's like, because Kenny Clark's, if there's one guy I love watching on film, his two favorite guys to watch on film, he always says are David Bakhtiari and Kenny Clark. And I would say this, when you watch the first half a second of film of Kenny Clark, it is good. He does a good job of beating the guy in front of him. He can hold up against the run. He can hold up against double team fairly well. Sometimes he gets blown up, but sometimes he does pretty good. It's after that initial 0.5 seconds where there's no pursuit. There's no speed. There's missed tackle. Oh, that missed tackle, but he just doesn't get there. He doesn't get there he doesn't make a play. He can beat the guy in front of him, but he doesn't make the play. And that's the thing that always has bothered me for years and years and years. Yeah. Now, he didn't say that. Andy Herman didn't say that. He just said his numbers were down, things were down, blah, blah, blah. He plays too many. And then he said even now, he's like, I don't know if he's worth the money he's getting paid right now because he's played so many snaps and he's getting older and he's slowing down a little bit. And I don't know, right? But he was admitting Kenny Clark, one of the 5 overrated guys on the Packers. Okay.
Now
and I was like, honest, that was awesome. Okay. Yeah. What?
One quick thing to follow up on that. Again, issue I have with that statement is he's talking like, oh, well, his play has diminished from where it was. No, it's the same. It's the
Well,
same. But
I don't know if
the
it's the
one thing
same.
I will
I
say
think
is Kenny Clark does play too many snaps.
he does. And they
100%.
don't use him properly sometimes too. Like
Right. He
he's
would be better if he was fresher. Like everybody would
Yeah,
be. Like
of course.
D lineman, that's the whole point. You got to switch that's your advantage over the offensive line. Is you can swap those guys out. The offensive linemen don't get to leave the field and swap out, but you can bring in fresh guys and have them go hard. And your top guys should play like maybe 60 snaps a game at the most. Maybe you keep them in the 50s if you have a good substitution package. And then you get some other guys in there like 35, 40 snaps, and you just rotate. That's what the best D lines do, because if they keep going play like 10 play drives, the dude's tired. Get his ass out of there. Get somebody fresh in there.
And I'll say this: I can remember there's been a couple of 4th and 1 plays where I can remember Kenny Clark taking on. There's one play where he
Right.
took on 3 blockers and destroyed the whole thing, and then Ty Summers against the 49ers, Ty Summers jumped over the top and tackled the guy in the backfield, and nobody else did anything on the whole play. It was just those 2 guys. Kenny Clark took out 3 offensive linemen, and Ty Summers jumped over the top and tackled them. Then it was awesome. So like as much as I do, and I do give crap Kenny Clark, but my thing is this: when your price tag goes up, my expectations for your play goes up. That's just the truth of the matter. And that's the same thing with Elton Jenkins for this year and the end of last year when he got his extension. He needs to play as a Pro Bowler now. He's paid as a Pro Bowler. Let's see him be a Pro Bowler and possibly an All-Pro. It needs to happen. Another thing Andy Herman did say about Kenny Clark, he's like, he's only had 2 Pro Bowls in his career, no All-Pros. And 2 of his Pro Bowls were like the alternate Pro Bowl guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the other thing. But that's those are his first 2. I think his next one, who was his next overrated guy? Shoot, now I can't even remember all the people that was there. I know one of them was Quay Walker.
That
was the 4th.
overrated. Quay Walker? Why is Quay
Well, that's
Walker
the thing.
overrated?
Like after 1 year, he's like, everybody thinks he's going to be so good. And what I meant, I just put a comment on. I said it. I said this is the most honest show you've done. And then I said I don't agree with Quay Walker. I think there are a lot of Packer fans talking up Quay Walker because he's made some splash plays, and I think he improved throughout the year. And I think what Packer fans are excited about is the potential of Quay Walker. They're not giving him an overrated. They're not saying he's awesome already. They're saying we saw improvement over the year, and we think he can be awesome this year. And moving forward, if all the things line up right, and he doesn't lose his head and start smacking dudes and whatever.
But
That's
he's
the biggest
different. He's different from a middle linebacker we've had forever.
Right. But it's the same type of thing where he put, Goodson on for his underrated. We haven't seen enough Quay Walker or Goodson to make a determination on that. Like everything is projection for those players, so you can't do it. So I said if you take off Quay Walker and put Devondre Campbell on, that's your overrated. Because when he made his All-Pro last year or 2 years ago, he was not an All-Pro player. He had a lot of tackles, and somehow he was an All-Pro player then. But when you watch the film, he wasn't making plays.
No,
plays were given to him.
He wasn't that impactful.
Right. And then last year he was disappearing. Like Quay Walker looked more impactful than he did last year. And so I said, put Campbell on, and I'll agree with your list. I can't remember who his 3rd guy was. Rick, do you remember, or anybody in the comments know who the 3rd? It was a big name player.
Guys or offensive guys? Or
I can't remember. Son of a monkey butt. This is terrible. I can't remember who it was.
So you have Jair. You have Elton.
No,
Jenkins.
he didn't say Jair. Jair was honorable or dishonorable mention. He didn't put Jair.
Oh, okay. Well, Jair's on my overrated list, but
I actually liked. Jair's one of my favorite guys.
Bakhtiari, Jair.
No, he
Elton
would never put Bakhtiari on. He doesn't put Bakhtiari on there.
Kenny Clark. There's 4.
Somebody in the comments tell me, who am I missing here?
Who's my 5th? I don't know.
Overrated player. It's got to be somebody who got paid.
Oof, somebody got paid. Yeah,
I don't remember. Anyways, we'll figure. Whatever. I don't remember what he said. But his last one, are you ready for this? He's like, I know everybody's gonna be mad at me for this one. He even said it, and I was like, oh boy, here it comes.
What is it?
Rich Bisaccia, he said. And he went through all the special team stats and all this stuff. But he's like, the Packers had 4 block kicks last year. They were rated in the bottom 3rd of the league.
Yeah.
And all this kind of stuff. And he went on and he was like, Rich Bisaccia has helped change the culture of special teams, but he's getting way too much credit for really nothing. And I agree.
For Keyshawn Nixon being
but
awesome.
right, the bottom, that's what he said. He's like, you played Amari Rodgers for half the year at return man, and you shouldn't have. The other thing is this. It's not just that Rich Bisaccia showed up. It's that they brought in actual good special teams players like Rudy Ford and Keyshawn Nixon and Dallin Levitt and all these guys. Without those guys being there, now I think he did get a lot out of. I think McDuffie looked better in special teams. DeGuara looked better in special teams. I think he does do a better job of coaching up. But also, if you have 2 or 3 added guys who are better players than what was there before, that's going to make the guys who were before, it used to be the 3 or 4 best players, now are your 4th, 5th, and 6th best special teams players. Well, guess what? Now that your special teams looks a hell of a lot better. So that is part of it, and I agree with that. So hopefully Rick will look and see who it was. But what?
Well, that's an interesting one. But he was just saying then the most overrated Packers, not players, huh? Okay.
Right. But it's still, I thought it was a good video. I thought both were good videos. Yeah. I think Andy Herman does a great job. He spends a lot of time on it. I don't think he has time to watch our show, dude. He has a full-time job, and he studies tape, and he does all kinds. He is awesome. Andy Herman does a great job. He's the one guy. I watch him every day. Every day I watch him because because I am freaking. He's the one guy. I think I agree with him more often than not.
Yeah,
and I think he's legit. Knows what the hell he's talking about. He actually cares, and he's not annoying. Sometimes he'll have people on the show with like that one guy, Alex Strofe. I'm sorry, that guy's just annoying. He's just annoying. I know he's a Madison guy. He's on the radio or something in Madison, isn't he?
Is he really? Oh,
I don't know. I was listening to Willie and Tausch. I've been listening to Willie and Tausch lately. And I heard commercials. I heard commercials with Alex Strofe on there. Hey, I can't do his annoying voice, but anyways, man, we're ripping everybody. We got to stop this. I don't want to rip any reporter guys.
Look, Andy Herman. I think he really was. I really liked a lot of the stuff he was doing, and then it felt like last season he started to he'd contradict himself more, and I don't know if he was trying to reach for things or whatever the situation was, trying to spice up his show or whatever it was. But I just felt like there was some of that going on, or maybe it was just a case where you can't keep up with everything, and maybe it's recency bias and stuff like that, or maybe he couldn't put in as much time. But I will say this. Look,
I think he's doing a great job.
His lists are fine. He's a good dude. I would love to talk with him. I would love to have him on our show or be on his show. So, Andy, if you do actually ever check out our show, man, hit us up. We'd love to talk Packers with you, man. And we're not going to give you a hard time.
I'd rather talk to him than all these other ding-dong, like Peter Bukowski and all. Like, come on.
Peter Bukowski, puts out some video. Let's hammer on that guy for a second since we're on.
No, why are we hammering everybody?
Puts out some video that says, when Brian Gutekunst really hits on picks, he really hits. Or when hits on picks, he really hits. And then he's got Jair. I'm sick of the Jair Alexander freaking hype up bullshit. Dude, I just showed you. He's the same guy as Rasul Douglas, except Rasul tackles people better. More. I know, so stop it.
He's not the same guy. You can't say that. Rasul is better.
Oh, God. He's not the greatest cornerback in the league. He shouldn't be AP.
He's not even close. That's the thing. It's so funny when you go back, like the way Packer reporters and the Green Bay Packers talk about and the way they pay these guys, by the way.
I know.
You would think that when you look at lists throughout the league, like when you have the national lists of all these great players, and the Packers have no players in the top 25 of players under 25 years old. When you look at stats and I'll see lists on things like, ooh, here's a top 10 running backs in the NFL, and Aaron Jones will be on there at 7, which is ridiculous. He should be number 2 or number 1, but that's beside the point. But they go through the top interior defensive lineman. Kenny Clark can't even sniff the top 20.
No, but he's paid like
it. When it goes to corners, they don't mention Jair. They mention a whole bunch of other guys before they mention Jair.
But then he gets
nationally. Well, then somebody will bring him up, and they're like, "Oh yeah, well Jair. Oh yeah, well I like him. Yeah."
Well, then he has a big. Then he has a big.
They
game
can never
against
explain
Justin
why
Jefferson.
he's good.
No. Then he has a big game against Justin Jefferson, and then he gets.
He was only covering him 4 plays in that game. It was mostly zone.
I know.
And he was double teamed. Justin Jefferson was double teamed the majority of that game, which is why they took him out of the game. And Kirk Cousins didn't know what to do, and it was awesome.
We say the truth on here, but other people think Jair covered him the whole game, and Jair did not. He did not denounce that when people said, "Oh, what was it like to shut him down?" He just took it all up, and that goes all the way back to when he was drafted. What did I say when he was drafted? I said he was going to be a guy who was a meme guy and who wanted his money, and all that has come true. Now, is he a good player? Hell yes. Jair Alexander is a good player, 100%. Is he as good as everybody makes him out to be? No, absolutely not.
He should
Absolutely
be on
not.
the list. Yeah, I agree.
And
But
he's not a complete corner. He's a good cover corner, not a complete corner.
Right.
Just and he doesn't have enough awareness or ball
And he
skills
runs really
to
weird.
be
He looks weird
super
when he runs.
impactful. Yeah. Well, that was the
runs
one
really-
thing. Like 5 interceptions, but his return yards were like 40 some yards or 50 yards. On 5 picks. So he's not getting very far. He picks it off and then he's not going anywhere.
Well, Rasul doesn't get that far either. He's not that fast.
Except a couple of years ago when he housed 2 of
Yeah.
them.
Well, he had a whole bunch of touchdowns then. Yeah.
But that's not because he's fast, because he's aware and he anticipates.
He's smart. Yeah.
Yeah, smart. All right, I continue on. What do you got? All right, that's all I wanted to say.
I don't know. You kept.
Anyway, I put my graph together.
Listen,
we did all the whole thing.
That was a good graph. I'm just saying this. Packer
I
fans
like
don't
Andy
want to hear
Herman,
us
don't get me
talk
wrong. I
crap
like
about
Andy
other
Herman.
Packer
I know.
things. You never.
Except Peter Bukowski. You hate Peter Bukowski.
Yeah.
Say
Peter
why.
Bukowski,
Say why.
I don't hate him because he's an idiot. He had a Buck show. He has no idea what he's talking about. He has no idea. What he's talking about. I remember the Buck show was bad. Like he should never. I just remember an interview or not interview, but he was asking questions to the Bucks when they were going in the NBA Finals, and I was like, why is he covering this? He has no idea about anything about basketball. He also
It's
doesn't know
true.
much about football either.
I'm sure he's a perfectly nice guy. And
I don't know about that.
And he did some stuff, and they were like, "Here, do the Locked On Bucks and Locked On Packers stuff in Wisconsin." He was like, "Sure, you're gonna pay me to do that? Yeah, why not? I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, but cool."
Well, I think
that's fine.
He's
That's
gotten
fine.
better. I listen to him sometimes too. He's
All
not.
right, cool.
He's gotten better with the Packer stuff.
Who
I will
else do
say
you
that.
listen to? Other than who else do you listen
Everybody.
to?
I listen to a whole bunch
Everybody?
of stuff.
Listen
I'm
to
at work.
everybody?
I have 8 hours I have to work, and I can listen to crap. So I listen to all this crap. Like I have a job where I can, every day I listen to Andy Herman because I can. Now, if I didn't have a job where I could do that, I probably wouldn't. I probably still would. I would still listen to Andy Herman. I would still listen to Andy Herman because it's short. That's the problem with our show. Our show is too long. People don't want to listen to a whole long.
Andy's
Two
is
idiots
kinda long
blabbing
too,
about
though.
nothing for a freaking hour or whatever.
Yeah, but
hour
our
and 2
production value versus his. Come on, man. Like, come on. I just put a graph together tonight. Like, what do you want?
I know
from
that
me?
was something else.
Let me
That
say
graph
this.
was amazing.
I'm gonna also give Andy Herman some super credit. Much better at grading offensive linemen than PFF. I'll say that
yeah.
for him too. PFF, I don't understand PFF in terms of they don't know how the hell they need like an offensive line guru to join PFF because their offensive line grades at PFF suck. They do not know how to grade offensive linemen.
Well,
I'm just putting it out there for you.
I was listening to a couple videos of theirs like a year ago or something. They used to have these two guys.
I think I'm just gonna hammer on everybody tonight because that's
I'll
the
just
mood I'm
hammer
in,
on.
I guess. Whatever. Okay, go ahead. Oh wait, Rick's got it here.
Oh, so Jair was one of the ones.
Jenkins, Jair, Kenny, Big Sakia, and Quay. Okay, well, whatever.
Oh, yeah, well, Jair was the ones. Okay.
Well, that's
there you go.
deserved.
I agree with all that.
He's overrated. He's overhyped, but he's a good player. He's a good player. Let me just say this about all those guys.
Out of those four,
Jenkins,
Jenkins
good
is the
player.
best. He's
Good
the least
player.
overhyped out of them all.
Good player. Good. They're
At
all
guard.
good players.
At guard.
Yeah. Well, that's what we said. But like
Well, that's what
playing
we
at
said,
guard.
But last summer, everybody was saying he was a tackle.
I know.
He should be paid like a tackle. He's a tackle. He wants to be paid like a tackle. It's like, no,
Absolutely not.
he's a guard.
Yep.
And he proved it last year, so keep him at guard.
I think Zach Tom is a tackle, so I don't want to see him put a guard spot.
I don't know
Thinking
why
about
they keep
guys.
put him. He's too
You know what I
skinny.
mean? Well, they're trying to make him like the utility guy so they can save
It's dumb.
roster
Just
spots.
start him at freaking tackle.
I
Trade
know.
Bakhtiari and start him at left tackle. Put Yash at right tackle. You're good. You're good.
I
well,
like
except
those
for
two
Myers.
guys.
Myers needs to freaking shape it up.
Myers is
But if they
he's
start
still
running
a
the
question
ball,
mark.
like in those plays we showed a couple weeks back where they're attacking the defensive line,
Mhm.
Myers looked good. Myers' problem is when they move him in, when they pull him, he's like a big lumbering ding dong. He can't find it. He doesn't get to the guy he's supposed to block, and he falls on his face. It's almost bad as Bakhtiari and Jenkins were. They should be moving Runyon in space,
Yeah, Runyon's he's pretty fleet.
and they should be, and then bring
pretty good.
DeGuara around the corner and have him take out a
Mhm.
guy and stuff like that. That's what they should be doing. Those guys are good in space, finding who they're supposed to block. Bakhtiari, Jenkins, not so much. Myers, not at all.
I said it
But
before.
anyways.
If Bakhtiari's back in this team, if he's not traded and he is on this team, he better be ready to block his ass off and actually run block
Yeah,
this
run
season.
block.
He better be ready to run. He has not run blocked for more than not just the couple seasons he's been out, but for several seasons before that. He's not really been a run
But
blocker.
you know what he does
He
do?
better be ready to run block.
You know what he does do? When there is
Runs
a big
fast.
long run, he runs really fast.
Runs fast.
And Larry McCarron will circle him and show you how he ran all the way down the field. Look at how fast Dave Bakhtiari is. He didn't block a single freaking person on the play, but look how he ran. He got down there almost before Aaron Jones because he ran so fast, not blocking anybody. One of the dumbest things I've ever seen. Everybody got all excited. Look at Bakhtiari running. Oh, my God. That's not his job. His job is not to run down the field 50 yards and not touch anybody. It's to get in front of someone and block them.
Sadly, that same year, I think was the same season that Lucas Patrick blocked Anthony Barr like 20 yards downfield and then pancaked him. And that didn't get nearly as much hype with the Packer fans as David Bakhtiari running fast and blocking absolutely nobody. Dumb.
But listen, you got to do what people want. People want to hear that the first round picks and the big name guys are good. So that's what people talk about. It's nothing new. It's fine. But that's why this show is here, folks. You could still go watch the other shows and get the news that they want you to hear, and then you can come here and you'll get the truth. And we're an opinion show. It's called the P.O.O Show. Packer Outright Opinions. We tell you our opinions. Sometimes they're wrong, but 99% of the time it's not BS. It's the truth. It's legit. We know what we're seeing. We know what we're talking about. We might be idiots. And that's our flaw, where sometimes we're wrong. But 90% of the time, we're right. And we don't tell you something we don't believe.
That's true, 100%.
So
no false pretenses.
I will never once tell you
clickbait. None of that. No.
And I'm a big Rasul Douglas, one of my favorite guys. I said last year he wasn't as aggressive in the running game. I said it.
Still good.
Still better than Jair Alexander. But whatever.
He still had a really good season. It's drive me crazy. People say it was a down year.
It's interesting to you show those stats. It's interesting. Let's see. What else can we talk? I want to talk about. You have anything else you want to talk about?
That was really it. That was
okay. I want to bring up.
I want to bring it up. Yeah.
I want to bring up the hype machine again. This season's hype. This once again.
Well,
I don't quite know how to say it. I don't know what to do about it. But
what is it?
Again, everybody is all hardcore on Romeo Doubs. They're just. Romeo Doubs is Romeo Doubs.
Because he says crazy stuff like Jordan Love. I mean, I don't see any difference between him and Aaron Rodgers. He can do whatever. Same.
And by the way, people still call him Dubs. The guys on Good Morning Football, you see that clip? They're like, "Oh, it's Dubs. Is it Dobbs or is it Dubs?" And then Peter Schrager's like, "It's Dubs." And then the other guy was like, "Oh yeah, Dubs." No, it's fucking Dobbs. You dumbasses, get the freaking names right. If you're gonna go on a national TV program and talk shit about a player and about how he's an idiot. This is the dumbest comment I've ever heard. Get his last name right. At least have the respect when you're going to rip the shit out of him to get his damn name right.
The dumbest comment I've ever heard. I do have one thing
now. That's what they said. That's
but
what
it
guy
relates.
said. That Bears fan. What's his name? The Bears fan that's on that show?
Kyle
what's his face? Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, but he's got a little in with Rodgers. Let me.
Oh, I know. He was. I had him on the
things.
show.
So my incredible, wonderful journalism professor who taught me the ways. He was my Obi-Wan, and then now he's in the great beyond, or he's dust, or whatever he is. His spirit lives on. But he said, proper nouns should be said correctly every time. So whether it's a city, whatever it is, proper nouns, people's names, make sure you get those correct. There is no variation. There is no stylizing for your location. Proper nouns are said the way they're supposed to be said, including people's names.
Especially if you're going to have a whole segment about this guy. Wouldn't the producer on the show, a nationally televised show, figure out and tell his talent? Because that's what they're called, talent, apparently.
Oh, okay.
You know that you used to be talent. Remember when you were talent, when you won your award-winning journalist thing? I've never been talent. I was always the camera guy or the guy behind the scenes. I knew everything, but I was never the talent. I was never called the talent. I was never a what's his name, Pat Kreitlow, the talent. Anyways, you think the producer would look up how to say the guy's name so that his talent doesn't look like morons when they say his name incorrectly the entire time when they're ripping the shit out of him? Anyways,
I think that's what bothered me more. Bothered me more when. Last thing. No, before you go on.
What? Romeo Dobson.
Oh, finish Romeo Doubs. Then there was one thing I want to talk about. Go ahead.
Okay, Romeo Doubs.
Yeah.
This is my thing. Everybody is talking up Romeo Doubs again.
Yeah.
Like they did last summer.
Okay.
Okay. saying how great he is. How
That ankle sprain slowed him down.
he's
they
doing him and Jordan Love are on the, working together in the offseason because they have the same trainer guy or whatever, and they're on top of stuff. And people are saying that Wilde and Tausch are saying Romeo Doubs is going to be the number one receiver. Tausch said he's going to be the number one receiver. He's going to have more targets, more catches than Christian Watson, which may be because he's a possession receiver.
Sure.
So, Christian Watson's more the big play guy. So I can see that happen because Christian Watson, when he catches it, is probably going to take it to the house. So, yeah, he's going to have one catch, take it to the house. Romeo Doubs is going to have 4 catches to get 40 yards. There's a difference there. I mean, come on.
Yep.
One guy's like Randy Moss. The other guy's like Devontae Adams. I mean, I'd rather take the Randy Moss guy. Doesn't have the hands of Randy Moss, of course. That's his problem. Or body control sometimes. But because sometimes when he jumps up and catches those contested balls, it does look awkward. Christian Watson's got an awkward. He's almost got a little Alan Lazard in him, unfortunately. But I think he
used to be a quarterback. I mean, give him a break.
Hopefully he'll get out of it. Anyways, but he is super smart. He got a higher Wonder Rick score than Aaron Rodgers, so he's smart. Christian Watson.
Good one.
Okay, back to Romeo Doubs. I will say this: I like Romeo Doubs. I think he's got good hands. I think he's very even keel. He's very shy. He doesn't. His interviews, he never seems like he wants to say much. But just temper your expectations, everybody. He's not going to turn into Devontae Adams this season, but he will be a very good player.
You said before that he's like a cheaper Devontae Adams, and he is pretty much
I think he's better. I think he's better than Devontae Adams. Not better, but different. Devontae is very good with the ball in the air. He's very good at using his body to shield guys, because he can locate the ball. Devontae's hands aren't the great. I think he's got better. I think Doubs has better hands than Devontae. I think Doubs is quicker in his routes. Devontae takes him 25 years to get moving because he got to do 17 juke moves just to get off the line of scrimmage. Doubs doesn't have to do that. So, but I will say the nice thing about Romeo Doubs is he is not afraid if he feels like he was slighted. There was a couple times last year where he said he was one of the guys in the article about Aaron Rodgers and the whole signals thing. Romeo Doubs was one of the names in the article saying how, there were times where sometimes he doesn't really know what the heck's going on.
Fair enough.
You're not getting signals. This week he came out and he said, he said the thing where I don't see the difference between Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love, because what he saw was Aaron Rodgers last year. That's the only time he's ever worked with him. And Aaron Rodgers sucked last year. Everybody knows that.
100%.
They were the 32nd ranked team in the red zone. He threw freaking bunch of picks.
He was like 26th, 27th in QBR, 20 something.
Never had a 300-yard passing game.
Nope, not a single. The only
what the hell?
36 or 37 quarterbacks had 300-yard passing games last year. Aaron Rodgers had 0.
Yeah. And he also said that it's funny. Have you seen the quote from last week? We should have talked about it because I saw it, but then it kind of blew over me too.
Which one?
Where they asked about Aaron Rodgers or what the difference is working with Jordan Love, and his answer was like, "Yeah, well, I mean, it was good for me to work with Aaron last year. He taught me a lot, barely speaking to me." And then he was like, "But not like, I don't mean that in like a bad way. Yeah." But he was like talking smack. It was awesome. Romeo Doubs he seems like a well-mannered, shy guy. Yet he'll be like, "Oh, I don't see the difference between Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love." Bam. Aaron Rodgers didn't talk to me all the whole last year. Bam. Aaron Rodgers freaking has given us signals that he never taught us. Bam. It's awesome. Romeo Doubs don't take no shit, but he's like subtle. He's almost like an old Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. So I don't know. Mom's getting mad. What's going on here?
He owns a piece of paper and very proud of it. It means a lot to me, and I'm not laughing. Okay, well, Mom, that's fine. What are you talking about?
What is she laughing about?
Is Jago messaging you?
Oh, maybe that's the old quote or something.
Oh, maybe. Don't worry, Jago.
Mom, it's okay. Jago got hit with a humble pie this week. Now that the Vikings are cutting Dalvin Cook and they're taking trade requests for Danielle Hunter. Mom, it's fine. Jago, he's way nicer today. All of a sudden, because the Vikings are just doing stupid crap.
All right, let's finish with this. This here. I guess this show's really about stuff that bothers me and pisses me off. So let's go with
Just
this
watch
one.
it. People don't want to hear. They want to hear positive stuff, dude.
They want to
We
hear
had
this
more
one.
views last week than we've had in a long time.
I have a question.
Though we were really ripping the crap out of Aaron. I love that show. I listened to it 3 times myself. Maybe that's where all our views came back. Now, I will say this. I talked way too much, and I
You
went and
think-
rambled and rambled and rambled, and I'm sorry about that. But I had a lot to say.
More importantly, do you think Don Mikowski watched last week because we had his picture?
Probably because he saw his picture on there, but we never talked about him at all.
That's okay. We use this image, man.
Well, Don
With
Mikowski, he's one of my top. What is he?
the magic stick, and then the ball's in the air, and he puts the hands out like it's magic.
Hey, remember when we did our top 2 Packer quarterbacks in Packer history? Don
Yep.
Mikowski is my number 2,
Wow.
right after Matt Hasselbeck. Matt
Wow.
Hasselbeck number 1, Don Mikowski number 2.
That's wow, impressive. Okay, here's the thing.
I do though. I love Don Mikowski.
I know.
Here,
it's
you
fine.
talk. I'll be right back. You talk. I'll be right back.
Don
I'm gonna be
Mikowski
gone for a
played
little bit.
hard. Okay, he
So
played
just
well.
do your thing. I'm not going to listen to you because I'm going to be gone. I'm going to come back with something.
Disappointing.
So I'm going to come back with something really cool. I'll be back. Okay, bye.
Okay, all right. Okay. So here's my thing. Everybody. Oh no, that's not the thing you want. You don't want naked or no Ben there. Okay. I'm sorry if I'm just giving you things that made me mad this week that I heard. Here's one of the other things, and I'll be interested to hear what Ben says to this, but I'm more interested to hear what you guys say about this. I watched some shows. I watched some things. People talking about Aaron Rodgers not being on the Packers anymore. I'm not going to talk about Aaron Rodgers specifically, but people discrediting and discounting the Packers organization and this group of players and the players we have. The defense has all of these high picks and all these high priced guys that should perform. People on offense like Aaron Jones, young receivers who are exciting. AJ Dillon, even you throw him in there. Okay. Solid offensive line. All right. And people are saying that the Packers are now irrelevant. No one's going to talk about the Packers. The only reason they talked about the Packers before was because we had Aaron Rodgers. The only reason the Packers were relevant on a national stage were because we had Aaron Rodgers. What the hell do you guys think of that? If that is the case, this is where the disconnect comes from national media, who clearly there's only so many minutes in an hour, so many hours in a day, so many days in a week for you to try to stay on top of all this stuff. So the national media cannot look at the Packers games the way we look at the Packers games. They cannot examine the play of, say, Aaron Rodgers the way we would examine the play, or you would as a Packers fan. They don't have time for all that. 100%. So they look at the highlights, they look at the stuff that's fed to them, and then they make statements like they just made about how the Packers are. The only reason we were talking about the Packers before was because Aaron Rodgers, because you had Aaron Rodgers, because he makes you relevant, and now you don't have him. So now you're not relevant. Now you don't have a chance to win. Well, you know what makes you relevant? Winning games. And I think this team this season is going to win games. It's going to be different. It's going to be a good different for most of us who've been waiting for more of a team game instead of this centric around one player type game. But I heard that over and over this week from different national media sources, and it pissed me off. So continuing on with the theme of the show, things that bother me, which is that national media is saying the Packers are no longer relevant because no Aaron Rodgers.
That's a good one. I like that. I didn't hear half of it, but I agree.
That's okay. It was basically the same thing. I just heard people say it, and I'm like, hey, like Joy and she's with Acho.
Oh,
and the
she
other-
doesn't know what she's talking about.
And they got Shady and all this, and they're like,
You don't know what he's talking about. Well,
the reason we talked about you before was because you had Aaron Rodgers. Now I know Aaron Rodgers.
I'll say this. The more and more things Aaron Rodgers says and does that are stupid, the more and more people are having a hard time defending him. Joy Taylor's still defending him, but those other 3 guys on that show are starting to see the truth. But whatever. Okay,
Even
get me on the big screen.
Okay.
I got to show you something awesome.
All right, what do you got? Whoa!
Oh wait, here, hang on.
I saw it there. I saw what it was.
I gotta fix my. I get rid of my virtual background here. Okay, here we go. There you go.
Wow.
The
What?
Magic Man autographed. Happy 30th. Happy 30th. So this is super long time ago.
Nearly 20 years ago. Holy
Mom had to wait at Bay Park Square or who knows, some mall in Green Bay. One of the malls in Green Bay. What was the one that was downtown that's no longer a mall anymore, I don't think.
Port Plaza.
Yeah, that's one we used to go to all the time. That was connected to that one hotel.
Yeah, that was
The Embassy Suites. That's no longer called the Embassy Suites anymore.
Yeah.
Anyways, had to wait to get his autograph at the Chess King or wherever the hell he was signing autographs at. And there you go. Happy 30th to Ben from the Magic Man.
Wow.
One of my prized possessions. Thank you, Mom and Dad. I'm pretty sure Mom was the one who wanted to do it. There you go. Pretty awesome. Magic Man, Don Majkowski, the second greatest Packer quarterback in the Packer history, right after Matt Hasselbeck, who never played a game for him. Okay. Magic Man is probably my top 5 all-time favorite Packer. Just
Why
saying.
do you love him so much? And well, because of the turnaround.
Because he was the Magic Man, dude.
I get it.
The Magic Man.
What about it? What if Jordan?
You know who
Love
I think
was
he's
the
got
man?
as many comeback victories as Aaron Rodgers
That's
in his
true.
Packer
That could
career.
be true. Yeah, that could be true.
Because Magic Man he just wanted to win. He just wanted to do crazy stuff.
Certainly didn't care about the stats at the end of the game. Just
All I know is there's a year where he
Trying
led
to
the
make
NFL
plays.
in passing yards and touchdowns, and he didn't win MVP. Should have.
Yep.
1989. Led
Yeah.
the league in passing yards, led the league in touchdowns. I don't even think he made the Pro Bowl. He got screwed by the refs. Oh, Mom was the second person in line. Yeah, well, you got there early.
Second person in line for that. Damn. All right. Way to go, Mom. Lee likes it. Lee says that's the coolest. He likes it.
It is the coolest because the Magic Man is the coolest. You kidding? The Magic Man went on stage with Poison and sang "Every Rose Has Its Thorn."
And sounded better than Bret Michaels. 100%.
Well, that's not hard. Bret Michaels sucks, but. And then he recorded himself. Remember, he recorded himself. You could buy it in Green Bay, and they played it on the WIXX at that time when
Yep.
WIXX was the pop
sure did.
station. I don't know what it is nowadays. It's probably a country or something. I have no idea.
I
Or
don't know.
even still WIXX in Green Bay. I don't know. Tell me, Lee, if you know WIXX. Anyways, they used to have the top 9 at 9 on WIXX. I used to listen to every week.
Yep.
And Magic Man was one of the top 9 at 9 because that was a call-in show.
Damn.
You called in and you got to play what you wanted. Magic Man was number 1 for a couple good weeks there, singing "Every Rose Has Its Thorn" with his original recording of it.
Wow.
It wasn't that great. I mean, he wasn't a good singer, but he
No, he
Hey.
was all right. He was okay.
Magic Man embraced. That was the thing that was cool about the 80s. Like even like the Bears. Like we hate the Bears, obviously, but they had the Super Bowl shuffle and all this dumb crap. They
Mhm.
could do crazy, stupid stuff and not be like getting pictures taken of them and put on the internet if they were dumb, right? But they were still entertaining and fun. Nowadays, guys can't do that because if they do something wrong or dumb, it's going to be all over the internet. So there's nobody that's fun and entertaining anymore. You know what I mean? Where back then, it's like, Jim McMahon, all these crazy freaking goofball guys. They're fun. It was part of being a fan that we were like, it was also the football was fun, but also like the characters were crazy and fun.
I think
Nowadays,
Quinn
who's
Miners
the
would be-
character? Who's a character nowadays in the NFL?
Quinn Miners
Sauce.
would be fun if they would have.
Yeah, but they don't let him be. He was a character before they drafted. Then once he was on the Broncos, nobody hears about him anymore. They really push you right before the draft every year. Like these guys. Most of these guys who got drafted this year.
Yeah.
This is the most they're ever going to be talked about for their whole career.
Yeah, that's true.
And then after that, boom, nobody's going to give 2 craps.
Mm.
And it's a shame because some of these guys are fun and characters and, could really be something. But yeah, Majkowski was a character.
Yeah, he was, and
Jim Harris was a character.
He provided fans with hope at a time where we needed some.
Yeah. It
'Cause
was just a
some-
shame he broke his rotator cuff or whatever the hell it
Yeah.
was that messed his shoulder up, and then he never had the arm strength again. He still played in the NFL a couple years. He played with the Lions and the Colts, but
Yeah.
he couldn't throw the ball downfield anymore. He couldn't zip it like he could before they, nowadays they have, the surgery, they can fix that crap.
Mhm.
Back in 1991 or 2 or whatever it was, he got hurt. Can't fix that anymore. Like they tried, but it wasn't the same. He didn't have the same zip on the ball.
Yep.
And that was the end of that. It's a shame. And then, of course, Bart Favre showed up.
Everybody's favorite.
Bart Favre. I know Brett
Not-
Favre, whatever.
Not everybody's favorite person, but everybody's favorite Packer quarterback, except for the people who remember the 60s and remember Bart Starr.
The sad part
Who's
is,
by far the best.
Yeah. More and more with every day that goes by, like it used to be Brett Favre was down here and Aaron Rodgers was up here. Now it's like, it's starting to be like, well, Brett Favre is down here and now Aaron Rodgers is like down here. It's like, it's weird. I still feel the same about Brett Favre, but now Aaron Rodgers, who at the time, 10 years ago, it was here. Now he's like here.
Yeah.
Well, he was that way for the last couple of years.
He's sung so low that's.
But the Magic Man always up
Magic
here.
Man.
The
Hasselbeck,
Magic
great guy.
Man.
I wish Hasselbeck could have played for him too. Great guy. Would have been fun. Would have been fun to have like quarterback like Matt Hasselbeck represent the Packers for a while. But now we got
Joey
Jordan Love.
Weimer for the Brewers. Who's that? I don't even watch the Brewers. I don't know.
know.
Lee, I'm not a baseball guy anymore.
I'm not either. It takes too long. Too many games. That's what
I feel
say.
sad. Like I even said, like when the Cubs won the World Series there, like, just so you know, we were Cubs fans because our dad was a
Magic fan.
Cubs fan, our grandpa was a Cubs fan, or grandma was a huge Cubs fan. So we became huge Cubs fans. But then when the Cubs won the World Series a few years back, I felt nothing.
You did.
And that was when I knew I was no longer a baseball
7 years
fan.
ago, Ben.
Yeah, I know.
7
But
years
I
ago.
felt absolutely, I was just like, nothing.
You were-
Now, if I would have been hanging out with you, Dad, and Sarah and Mom all watched it together, right? Or maybe my mom wasn't there. I
Yeah,
can't
I
remember.
drove up to Sarah's house just to watch that last game where I hoped they would win, but there was no guarantees. But they did win, and Dad's journey was complete as a Cubs fan. He now could, let go of everything else and not worry anymore. Because in
Well, that's
his
good.
lifetime, the Cubs actually won a World Series, and that's what I felt like a couple of years ago when the Bucks won the championship.
Yeah,
Because
me too.
it's like they finally did, and now I could let all that go. So I'm not as disappointed. Like this year didn't disappoint me that much. Other years,
What do you think about the Bucks' new head coach?
it's good. The big key was they got Stotts back. They
I
can
know,
do
it's so
Stats with
weird.
Stotts again.
That's what stats. That was a good times. It's interesting that he's not. I guess he had a shot. Wasn't he a head coach somewhere? Terry
He
Stotts
was
for
the
a
head
while?
coach with Portland. Yep.
Yeah.
And then that kind of fizzled out, and now he's assistant with the Bucks again. So hey, he was a good assistant coach. I think he does a lot of stuff where, he's a detail guy. He keeps guys on their game. He pushes them a little bit. So he's going to be good for this team. He's going to be good. Clean up some of the sloppiness and stuff like that. So, and overall, I mean, hey, I don't know if anybody's watching the NBA Finals. I watched a little bit the other night when I watched most of the game 2. And I was like, and it was funny because I sent Nick a text and I was like, hey, this is actually an interesting game to watch. I give the Heat credit because, like they're not flopping. Like I'm not watching the Celtics here who, when Jokic would turn and shoulder into him, they would have flopped like 10 times by now. And I sent him a text on it, and I was like, so I got some respect for the Heat. And then in the fourth quarter, they flopped all over the damn place and won the game because they flopped all over the place. And I was like, what the? I'm like, I take all that back. I don't have any respect for him. But it's different because, it's a different type of game. They're not chucking up a whole crap ton of threes.
Well, Jokic, or what's his name? Jokic,
Jokic, yeah.
He doesn't
He's a
even
big-
shoot threes, does he?
He does
only
once in a
shoots-
while, but he plays.
well.
He plays around the basket. He's a bigger, slower guy.
Yeah.
But he's a really good passer too, and he does. But they use the players well, and actually, their point guard guy he's from Canada, so their two best players are not from the U.S. And those are the two guys leading them. They both had triple doubles the other night when they won again. And the Heat are a good team, and I think their coach Eric Spoelstra is a hell of a coach. Like that dude's just a really good coach.
Well, yeah, he's been
He's
there
getting
forever.
Yeah, and he's getting the most out of those guys. But
I still hate
mean,
Jimmy Butler though. I can't stand.
I
that
know
guy.
Jimmy Butler's kind of a pain in the ass, but I think Utah's an interesting team, or Denver, I'm sorry, is an interesting team. They'll win, hopefully, and I think that would be their first title too, right? So
Well,
good
at
to
least
see that sort of
since the '70s, For my lifetime, they've never won anything.
it's good to see, teams that haven't won in a long time win, and it's nice to see the international players. And people talk about that all the time too, about how, and you look at the stars across the NBA, like there's a lot of dudes who were not from the U.S. that are the stars. It's kind of cool to see that.
Well, a lot of the stars that are from the U.S. are kind of ding-dongs. That's why.
Yeah, right.
They're whiny and they're
right.
floppers, and that's the problem. They're the floppers.
And
Kevin Durant and all these guys. James
I will say that
Harden.
about Utah. They don't flop. Or, sorry,
Utah?
Denver. They don't flop. Jokic, he doesn't flop. Those guys aren't flopping. They're not trying to get the cheap calls. They're just playing basketball, man. So I hope they win. Because I like it when the floppers lose. I hate floppers. Yeah. God, it pisses me off. Anyway, it's let's see.
They're asking about Wicks and DeBose.
JJ was disappointed. Bucks were disappointing. Yeah, but you know what? We talked about it. It was Budenholzer's fault. He didn't know how to play the right guys, and he cost him his job.
He didn't play Crawford.
Yeah.
He had 0 minutes in the last game. Dumb.
Zero's here. Hey, Zero. It is too much to ask for a competitive NBA Finals. It is. So don't ask for it. Especially if the Bucks are in it. We want the Bucks to just blow people away. So next, I think the Bucks will retool. They'll come back. I think they have to figure some stuff out. The one thing I'm noticing from watching these games, I will say this. Miami's players and Denver's players defend much better than the Bucks defend. And much better than Drew Holiday, who's supposed to be a great defender, defends. Most of the time when I watch Drew Holiday, who everybody talks about is such a great defender, basically he just allows a guy to go one way. Like he shades them so much that they can clearly go wherever they want to, just in one direction, not a certain. He takes away one side, but they can do whatever they want on the other side. He doesn't actually face people up and stop them from going somewhere. But you watch these guys play, and they'll do that. They're physical. They'll stay in front of people. So I think the Bucks got to get some better defenders on their team too to help them out. So that's probably the missing link for them.
They had one, and they played 0 minutes in the final game.
I know that's true. Yeah. Anyway.
They had the guys. They traded for him. That's why Budenholzer got fired.
I know.
They had the defenders. Didn't play him. Also, Chris Middleton needs to go.
Middleton does need to go. It's time. It's time.
It's either that or he needs to diminish his role to a off the bench.
Yeah, if he comes off the bench for offense, for offense,
he's right. He can be a Del Curry,
but then he's got to take a pay cut to reflect that.
Right, because he's doesn't play defense.
No,
doesn't pass the ball, doesn't get rebounds.
A lot of
turnovers. He's almost as bad as Michael Redd. If the ball comes to him, it's a freaking black hole of just chucking it up there or turning the ball over. That's the other thing that was so stupid. I'll never forget when Michael Redd was with the Bucks and they were saying how great he was. They're like, Michael Redd has got the lowest turnover percentage in the NBA. And I'm like, that's because he never passes the ball. He shoots it all the time. Count some of those missed shots that get turned into defensive rebounds. Count those as turnovers, and he'd be one of the highest if you counted that as a turnover. If you count a missed shot defensive, it's just Michael Redd was a freaking black hole. He got the ball and he shot it every damn time.
He because
he was the reason why I stopped being a Bucks fan for a long time.
I know, but because he played on those Bucks teams and scored so many points, he is considered an all-time great Buck.
I don't know why.
And that's why,
especially when before he got there, Ray was the man, and you watched Ray, and then you go to Michael Redd, and you're like, no, this guy's got nothing on. This guy's got nothing on Ray Allen. You kidding me? Ray Allen was the man. Dumbest move George Karl ever made.
Yep, for 100%. JJ is wondering about the Vikings dumping Cook and possibly Hunter. What are they doing? The Vikings are helping the Packers win the division.
Yeah, helping the Packers win the division.
Go Pack, go! That's what we say.
I will say this. I mean, Hunter has been hurt a lot the last couple years. Cook been hurt a lot the last few years.
Well, Vikings want players that are going to
maybe they're just like, you know what?
So much.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, they got a new regime at head coach, a new regime at GM in the last year or two or whatever. So these are older guys who've been there for a while. They're not their picks. They're not their guys.
What was the best thing Mike McCarthy said in his time as a Packers head coach, other than that Micah Hyde is just a football player?
Fundamentals.
That was always dumb. That was his answer to all the problems. We're just got to work the fundamental. We got to go back and work it and do no. You got to like figure out how to use your players or what, and he couldn't figure it out. Anyway, no, the one thing he said is the best ability is availability.
Whoa.
Maybe that's what the Vikings are like. These guys aren't available. Get them the hell, and we pay them a lot of money. They're not available. Now that sounds a little like. Anyway, never mind. But you get the point. If the guys aren't, if you're paying them a bunch of money and they're not able to play, what the hell's the point? You're paying them for their services on the field, not to just be part of your roster.
Well, we paid Dave Bakhtiari a whole lot of money to do nothing.
I know that's what I was getting at, but I didn't want to go that far. Anyway, you know.
I'll go there. I don't care. Don't bother me none.
Well, I hope JJ points out that we'll take some man coverage with Watson. Yes, 100%. And apparently Romeo Dobbs, like Ben was saying before, Jordan Love trusts him completely, knows if everybody's covered, I'll just throw it up to Romeo and he'll come down.
That's what he said. I hope he doesn't do
says.
that. I hope he throws it to Josiah DeGuara.
Yeah. Or Musgrave or somebody over the middle where they can do something.
Musgrave, I had a drop or something like that the other day.
I did know.
Oh, yeah, one more thing.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, what?
I noticed on some highlights, just running in shorts and not really against defenders, Musgrave's catching the ball and like double catching it and bobbling a little. I'm like, there's not even anybody around you right now. Dude, come on. You got to make. Anyway.
But he's fast, see? That's what they like. He's
I know,
fast.
but it's something to watch. Can you catch it when there's guys right there? Can you make the contested catch?
You know who doesn't double catch it? Josiah DeGuara.
Yeah, I know.
So I got a feeling. I'm telling you, Josiah DeGuara is going to be a secret weapon this year. He's going to be a chain mover.
He better watch out. He'll earn himself another contract then.
He's going to earn himself a contract with the Pack, and that's good. Dang, what was my thing I was going to say? Dang it, you interrupted me. I had a great thought.
You
to end the show
with your background not being virtual again. It's messing me
You
up.
have to. God dang it! I had a
Change your
genius
background.
move.
It'll come back. Change your background. It'll come back.
No, it happened just now. What was it?
Oh, okay.
You're making me mad because I had a genius move to say. Oh, yeah. Here's what I was going to say. Jordan Love. Everybody's having a heart attack. Jordan Love. And even Aaron Rodgers at his press conference today with the Jets apparently said, immortal sin, throwing the ball back across your body in the middle of the field. He even said it today, I guess. People were talking about it. Even Aaron Rodgers was paying attention to Jordan Love. And I'm like, he's not paying attention to Jordan Love. Aaron Rodgers is just saying stuff. Anyways. Everybody made a big heart attack because Jordan Love threw a pick because he threw the ball across his body in the middle of the field. Listen, it was in the 2-minute drill. He was going to the end zone. We were at practice last summer. He did the same thing. He dunked it, and he got it downfield. He got it inside the 20. There was 8 seconds left. He had to try to freaking force the ball in somewhere, and he did, and it got picked by Keyshawn Nixon. When we were there, it was awesome. This time, did the same thing. It's going to happen. He needs to learn this stuff in practice.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's the end of the game, there's only 10 seconds left, you hit the ball at 20-yard line, and you're down by more than 8 points, or more than 3 points, you got to throw the ball in the end zone. It's not like he's throwing it. It's not like it's freaking second quarter and, with like 10 minutes left to go and there's no big deal and he's running around and just, throwing a pick just because he feels like it. Oh, 0. Listen, man, I'm not saying I'm not worried about his interceptions. I'm just saying this. I would rather see a guy taking a shot than a guy who throws the ball out of bounds or, doesn't come from behind because he gives up and pouts on the sideline. I don't know who'd be talking about there, but you can kind of figure it out. I don't know what Jordan Love's going to be. He might stink up the joint. I have no freaking clue. But just get off his ass if he's throwing picks in 2-minute drill in practice, okay?
Yeah, really.
It's going to happen.
I mean, Brett Favre's an all-time great, and it wasn't.
Yeah, Brett Favre threw 6 picks in a damn playoff game. His last pick, this was a pick. Aaron Rodgers' last pass as a Packer was a
going
pick.
to the Super Bowl because he did that, right?
Yeah, he did.
At the
Same
most
exact
critical time.
And that was what they had to lead, I think.
I know. Well, they would have gotten to. They had a chance at a field.
Is that what it was?
Well, he could have ran for a couple yards and set him up for a field goal attempt, and instead he chose to do that. and
Right.
then
It's just know the situation because people are making too much out of this.
Oh,
It was a 2-minute
100%.
drill. They were supposed to be down by more points. It was them trying to get his job was to get the ball in the end zone, and he tried to, and it didn't work. So just lay off his ass. We'll see how he does. He might stink. I don't know. Give him a break.
Give him a shot.
That's all I'm
Give
saying.
him more than one shot. Give him a couple shots, actually.
I mean, we gave Aaron Rodgers, if we would have gave up on him, Bart Starr's last pass interception, I don't know about that.
I don't think so. I'd have to look it up, but I don't think so.
We know Aaron Rodgers was.
Just Favre and Rodgers.
But
same Z's. They're the same guy. We didn't think they were going to be the same guy, but they are exactly the same.
And I will be at Lambeau tomorrow.
What are you doing there?
I think I'm going there. I don't know.
Oh, okay. All right. Check out the...
I got a hotel room. It's like right next to the freaking right across the street.
Get out of town.
I don't know why. It's only when those available. I wanted to get the hotel by mom and dad's place, but it was freaking sold out again.
Damn, that hotel is popular.
That place is always sold out. I know. So then I was looking for I didn't want to spend $3,000 for a damn one-night hotel room.
Wow.
So one of the cheaper ones I could find was the one. It's like right next to the whatever.
But the hinterland and all of that?
No. It's right next to the whatever. What's the place?
Kmart?
Across from Hudson's Field or whatever. Down Hudson Field.
Oh, okay.
Aranichke Field.
Right.
You said it the other day. Arena. I don't know what the fuck it is.
Yeah. The Resch Center.
Yeah, that place. Right across from Lambeau.
Okay. Yeah.
It's right next to, it's on the same block as the Resch Center.
Get it.
So I'm just going to walk down the street and go to check out Lambeau. I'm going to take Olivia. Jessie said she didn't want to go. Well, she's a Minnesota person. She doesn't know anything.
Oh, sad.
So I'm going to make Livs go down there with me. Whether she likes it or not, too bad. Just walking around Lambeau. Get some pictures outside of Lambeau.
Good. Get them. There'll be some good stuff for our social media. We're really active on that.
Right before we check into our hotel. And then we're going by mom and dad's, and mom and dad want to watch a movie at their movie place.
Yeah, did they get it? Good.
I don't know if they did or not. Mom's on here. Did you get it, Mom? I don't know.
I told them reserve the movie theater, you guys. Come on. You can do that. Okay,
so we're gonna watch Sense and Sensibility. I'm kidding. I don't even know. No.
I don't remember that movie, but I was trying to.
I never seen it. I just made crap up. Olivia wants to watch Count of Monte Cristo again because that's her favorite movie.
Monte Cristo
With Jim Caviezel, who of course played Jesus in the Mel Gibson whatever.
He was also on that. What is that TV show? It was good though. It's like it was like he was a detective, and they talked about like. I can't remember what it was. Anyway.
Yeah. Jim Caviezel.
You know what I'm saying. Check.
He was also in that movie I gave you. Remember I bought you when you got married, I got you a PlayStation 2, but I didn't have it right away, so I had to give it to you later. And then I gave you 2 movies, and one of them was Frequency, starring the great Dennis Quaid, who's he's not great. I'm being sarcastic. And Jim Caviezel.
Why you gotta
check it out if you want to watch a cool movie about time travel radio stuff.
That's true. That's good.
Frequency.
Movie.
It's a crazy movie.
That's
it's not bad. Movie. It's weird. It's science fiction-y, but it's pretty good.
Leave you at this.
Oh, Dad didn't get the theater. That's okay, Dad, because then we're gonna go to Bay Beach. I'm gonna go to Bay Beach at night when the lights are on. Ride the Zippin' Pippin'. Except for that last part where you freaking get your nuts smacked. Oh, that's the worst. That is the worst. Anybody who rides Zippin' Pippin', they know what I'm talking about. That last hump is just like, whoa, why? You always got to get ready for that.
Ben Watts. All right, good luck. Stay safe on the Zippin' Pippin'. And everybody else, be good. Have a good weekend. I don't know. We'll see what we talk about next week. But anyway, Jordan Love's going to be fine. I don't know. Mom's down on him. He'll be all right.
He'll be okay.
Yeah. Packers will be fine. They're going to win some games. They're going to make themselves relevant to all you douchebag national media who think they're not going to be relevant just because they don't have Aaron Rodgers. That's the dumbest thing I ever heard in my life.
I said they're going 16-1.
16-1.
The only team they're losing to is the Justin Herbert because he's the best quarterback in the NFL.
I say 13.
Oh, we got to do Ben's top 20 quarterbacks.
Well, get them then. Let's go next week.
Maybe next week
Commit
we'll try
to
to
it.
get that done. I don't know if I can do it for next week. That's a
2
lot
weeks.
of work.
2 weeks.
It's a lot of work. Chris Sims is
weeks.
done with his.
Next week, I'll do Packers top 20 or top 5 offensive linemen. How's
Packers top 5 offensive linemen of all time, or just right now?
that? Right now, this for 2023. I don't know. We could
what are you talking about?
we could do the I could do some. I'll do some. I'll do some next week.
I don't
We'll
know.
get a top something, top 5 of something next week. And then Ben's the big one, 2 weeks, Ben's top 20 quarterbacks in the NFL, not just Packers.
Wait, I gotta do my top 10 running backs right now. Number 10, Aaron Jones. Number 9, Aaron Jones. Number 8, Aaron Jones. Number 7, Aaron Jones. Number 6, Aaron Jones. Number 5, Aaron Jones. Number 4, 3, 2, Aaron Jones. Number 1, Aaron Jones. Number 1, top 10 running backs in the NFL, all Aaron Jones. He's so damn good. He's a top 10.
Wow. All right.
I said that 3 years ago, and it's still true today. Oh, Eric Dahl. Yeah, there you go. Eric's got it figured out. Look, number 20 is Jordan Love. Number 19 through 1, Justin Herbert. Yeah, it's just like my Aaron Jones rankings. Yeah. Close. Close, Rick. You're close.
I do think Jordan Love should be higher than Chris Sims put him. That's for sure.
You put him at, what did he put him at?
He put him below
31.
some Garbage
31?
guys.
26, 31,
Yeah,
28.
It was bad. It was like 31, 30, something like that. Don't tell me there's
34?
30 quarterbacks better than Jordan Love in this league. I can't believe it.
We'll see.
All right. We'll see you guys next week. Have a good one. Peace out.
Still holding till I dream of you. Got to find